Hello, everybody, and welcome to Adrift in Aldhalor, our weekly actual play D&D show set in our homebrew world of Arden. Our music is licensed through Musicbed, not the other one, Musicbed.com. And our ambience when we use it is through TabletopAudio and Syrinscape. Try them out for your own games. I'm going to give us some announcements now, or talk about some of our partners. Shannon is reserving her voice for roleplay. She's a little sick. So, first up is Arcane Spectacles. Enhance your TTRPG and D&D games with Arcane Spectacles dice sets, made in collaboration with Die Hard Dice. With a variety of set colors, and you can elevate your gaming experience to your liking. Don't settle for ordinary dice when you can have top quality sets from Arcane Spectacles and Die Hard Dice. Roll the dice and upgrade your gaming gear today. Visit them at... Is that the correct one, Shannon? Okay, just making sure. Visit them at arcanespectacles.com. Next, we have Underground Oracle Publishing. UOP is a best-selling Emmy-nominated TTRPG publisher, building new and exciting settings for the Cypher system of every genre you can imagine. Each setting includes everything you need to explore its unique worlds, including lore, species, descriptors, foci, creatures. Did I say UPO?
You said UPI.
No, you said UOP. You said
Okay.
it right.
Okay.
I thought I said UPI.
No, I'm pretty sure you said it right.
Well, regardless, it's Underground Oracle Publishing. But if you... each setting, I'm going to jump right back where I left off. Each setting includes everything you need to explore unique worlds, including lore, species, descriptors, foci, creatures, ciphers, artifacts, and all of the rules that you need to play. Including
By the way,
Michael Udon.
Your name on stream completely covers up the noodles, so whatever you're doing, keep it headed.
For as little as $3, you can join Underground Oracle's Patreon and help shape the hero in each of the worlds that they create. Next, we have Eddie Yorke. Eddie Yorke is our character artist. He is an illustrator based in the UK who makes art for games and books. To visit his portfolio and get in contact with him, visit eyorke.com. 1985 Games. They create affordable, accessible, high-quality accessories for D&D and other tabletop role-playing games. Sean, who is me, uses their NPC cards, although I have used almost all of them, so I have had to make my own again. But they are great inspiration and great use if you're looking for some quick characters for your game. You can use the code paradiceprod for 10% off your entire order with them. Just some few quick things. You can find recaps on Discord for our episodes if you're trying to catch up, although you won't find this week and last week's on there yet, but it will be up there soon. And it's just a really great way to catch up if you want to jump right into the fun. And join us in Paradise on all the social media apps, Bluesky, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, and all the fun that we have there. Thanks.
Fun.
Alrighty. I don't have to change the screen because I brought you all on. Let's play a game.
Dice? We're playing dice?
We're playing dice.
Oh,
Dungeon Dice Monsters?
Yeah, you'll all find a package at your house right now that'll start the...
Duke Devlin.
Let's jump into our recap. Last we met, Iron and Mana, our entrepreneurially spirited adventuring team, prepared for their feat of strength before the people of Hyven, the Commodore Umidori, and Governor Sai Pachin himself. Jacquette hurriedly made everyone presentable as they discussed their plans for the event. The party then departed for Harborside to meet with Doyle, the executive assistant to the Commodore. He waited for them by the arena created for them, which was simply several barges hitched together into a makeshift seaside battlefield. Despite the unnerving terrain, they soon found themselves in the guest of honor tent by the parade grounds. Here they were showered with food, drink, and hospitality. As well as Emile Ducant, an auditor of the governor that they had met previously, he left them a note informing them of what sort of monster they would be fighting today, revealed to be a machina. With this information, a confused Septimus left to acquire Sal in order to show the people of Hyven that not all Machina are monsters to be feared in the wilds, but some are there to protect them. Finally, the parade arrived at the staging area, and the party lined up to be announced. All manner of floats and marching paraders arrived in Harborside with civilians in tow. With a flourish of fireworks, Governor Podgen descended from his float onto the stage. The statesman showed a spry youthfulness despite his advanced age. Through some pageantry, he announced the coming of a rail line connecting Hyven to Solonel, the capital of the Alfdal Islands. With this, he promised safer streets, more trade, and more opportunity for the people of Hyven, like any good politician would say. Our heroes would play a vital role in this plot as one of the first, in his words, sanctioned adventuring companies in Hyven. A stalwart example of a new age of heroes and a goodbye to the cutthroat sellswords and mercenaries of old. But the big show was yet to come as our heroes hurried to the staged arena, and the crowds bustled onto sloops and wharfs for a better view. The governor's mages began casting a wall of force to protect the audience as he announced the dread Machina salvaged from the sea the party was to fight. The battle hastily began as to the cheers of onlookers. This enemy was a large Machina covered in barnacles with small spider-like Machina minions to go along with it. Through peril and some close ones, the party scratched and clawed their way through the fight, defeating the old machine to the cheers of the people of Hyven. Governor Podgen declared them the city's heroes and a symbol of hope. And that's where we left off, with our party battered and bruised, but triumphant, and having leveled up. Well, once they take a long rest. You're muted.
I didn't even take a single hit the entire time. Man, it's great being a rogue, huh? Isn't it, Bruce? As Jacquet is trying to rouse Bruce to consciousness. Bruce,
Why does it
sweet
hurt
Bruce.
so much? It hurts.
Oh,
That
you'll
potion's
get
supposed to fix it. Oh wait, no. I gave the potion to Saskia. Never mind.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, take it easy.
Oh, I inhaled a lot of seawater. Oh,
I thought that was your thing, though, right? Doesn't that
shut
just
up.
heal you?
Shut up.
Okay.
just-
Jacquet looks over at the prone body of Sal and turning to Septimus. Should we do anything about Salvatore, or is he gonna
Septimus
walk it
is
off?
Septimus is already there. Wait, did he get downed?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
die.
okay.
Oh, he was technically prone, though.
He was knocked prone. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
prone,
also
that's what I
like
thought.
all of you are around the heaping body. Or actually, no, you kicked the
He
Machina
went to
into
the water.
water.
He blew
Yeah.
up in the water.
But like, there's like a gap between you and Sal. Like, you have to jump over some
Right.
water to get to him because the whole area broke apart. So Sal's just kind of like stranded over there, like standing over a bunch of dead spider minions, kind of like looking to you, Septimus, like
The hell is
Father,
this?
Father,
Septimus
help
is doing
me.
his best to try to make his way over there to assist him.
Yeah, even the your Machina companion helps you overcome your deep fear of jumping over these gaps.
I
Of course, I
can.
love him. Just stay there, Sal. Just hold on. I'll be right there to assist you.
I
You
What
can see like
probably-
he keeps like taking steps closer to you, and it's like you can see the whole thing shaking and cracking. It's like when you can't communicate with your dog that they shouldn't go somewhere, they should wait for you. Is basically what's happening.
I don't know if I'm strong enough, but can I get in the water and like kind of nudge it closer?
No, these are way too big.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh, this frickin' hurts. And Bruce is just gonna slap Cure Wounds on himself. And Saskia, you look a little.
Yes, please.
All right, here you go. And he's gonna just slap a metal plate on your back.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
The familiar
Bruce is
discomfort
just
of
gonna
Bruce's
sit back down.
Bruce's metal bandages sinks in as your
Yep.
wounds begin to stitch themselves back together in a feeling that you never quite get used to.
Yep.
Fearn's climbing out of the water section onto like that dock side, and he's, kind of just riling up whatever's left of the crowd. you know, just holding his sword up in the air, you know, screaming his name, you know, handing out business cards if it seems applicable.
The crowds are probably not getting close enough to you to hand out business cards, but they are, the governor's auditors are putting boards down to help you all jump back up to the top, and you can see there's actually already what appear to be some healers there waiting for you.
Oh, that's very nice of them.
As you go up, and so it's very like it's very much so an exchange. Like the healers are not like medics who are like checking to make sure you're okay. They're basically just like tapping you on the head with a quick cure wounds, each of you.
Yep, heal me up, please.
Looking at Saskia, just giving her a little eye. We should probably salvage that machine if we get a chance.
Yeah.
I think that'd be worth
Oh, I plan to have a word with the governor about that entirely.
Yeah, I was thinking about that myself. I'm happy to go down there, and if there's anything in particular you'd like, I imagine you might want the core, if I can pry it out.
Yeah, that would be great. Anything, really.
Yeah.
I'll give you my bag, and just don't open it completely underwater, or else.
I mean, what if I, that's probably could go very badly. I'll just make several
Upside
trips.
down, and then the air pressure.
I don't think that works. I think that was busted on Mythbusters.
I never tried it before, so I guess we'll try it out.
As you're all brought up, and you can all add another 12 HP to your hit points.
Once
Except for
we
you,
get
Jacques.
on stable, once we get on stable ground, Septimus will begin mending Sal, doing his repairs to heal him.
Absolutely. Doyle would immediately come running up to you all, as you can see the walls of force coming down. The governor is still kind of riling up the crowd, as he is kind of like speaking to your accolades here, getting them all riled up, probably especially alongside Fearn's sort of show there. But very quickly, like, ends everything. And it's just basically like, and that's it, everybody. It's our show for today. There'll be more festivities throughout the evening. As he would like drop the invisible mic and walk off stage immediately.
Like, get the hell out of my city.
As Doyle would come rushing over and kind of like shock on his face at all of this. Like he thought you guys were like
Gonna die.
He probably thought you were gonna die. As he looks to each of you and is like, What a performance. What a show. And he kind of composes himself. Yes, of course, it's done. It has been done. You can come this way and enjoy the guest of honor tent without any sort of nerves, and just eat, drink, enjoy yourselves. I'll gather the governor and Commodore for your meeting.
Thank you, Doyle. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Iron and mana. And he just nods his head and walks off as you say that. But an air of respect where before there was very little. But you can gather within the tent. All the food is still there. The drink is still there. You can see some of the auditors follow you in there to make sure that you're comfortable. And you await the governor.
Yeah. I just plop down on the couch or whatever the comfortable spot is. I'm like slightly bleeding all over it. And I'm just like, it was fun.
I'm actually a little embarrassed, to be honest, as I'm, just downing water or whatever it is to drink there. It was a fight on the water, and I fucking fell. That's so embarrassing.
Actually,
how am I supposed to recover from that?
Well, technically, Saskia, you were on land when you fell.
Okay, no, it was a sea creature. It had barnacles on it. I I'm so embarrassed. I don't even know if I can face him. I just ugh.
Well, that
Too.
makes sense.
My face
You're
is getting
right.
redder and redder.
Got egg all over your face.
Relax.
And I don't
Sass.
just mean from the shame. I mean you have some egg on your face. You should really clean up better.
It's fine. We're a team. They'll be proud whether or not whatever you did, we succeeded.
Yeah,
I was about to commend the rest of you, pointing to the three of Sass, Fear, and Jaquette, because they definitely did the most damage. Like, you all, you guys did fight valiantly. Bruce and I assisted as best we could.
You did just as well as any of us. You didn't collapse on the waters. The one who's actually afraid of the water didn't collapse on the water. The one who freaking just
Well, you were in the thick of it.
drinks it.
What I was
did.
trying to get across is that Bruce and I are always here to support you guys. Are the damage dealers.
Yeah. Also, I've never been in that much pain before. Holy crap!
Handled us
How do
like
you?
a champ.
Is this what you guys always feel in
Oh, yeah.
combat?
Sometimes worse.
Well, you know, if you like train your body, it not only will not hurt as much, but also you won't find yourself in those positions, you know, more often.
You just not have nerves? Are you one of those people that, like, when you shave your face, you just don't feel it? I don't have facial hair. I'm a kobold.
Bruce doesn't have to shave at all.
To be
Jacquet
fair, a
looks
lot
to-
of things in life hurt in a lot of different ways.
Jacquet looks to his burned scars, and he goes, "Yeah, I guess you kind of lose a little feeling after a few times."
Do you want me to patch you up?
Oh no, I'm fine. This is from dying. Remember when I died? Oh, good times.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Literally got immolated by a wyvern's fire breath. You guys remember that? Oh,
Yeah.
good times, good times.
As you see, like, one of the auditors getting food and just looks at you, Jacquet, like, okay, these are real adventurers.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry. No, it's fine.
Basically, you start to hear the music start up outside again, and it's no longer a parade and more so like a street party is happening now along Main Street, as there is more of a festival environment than parade now. And you can see other people start pouring into this tent. This is a VIP section, but you assume these people coming in are probably likely important.
Do you recognize anybody? Or do we know any of the people? Not that we recognize them.
You can give me yeah, anyone can give me a perception check if they want to keep an eye on the crowd and see if there's anyone they recognize.
Sure.
I am not.
I think Jacquet is gonna start realizing that this is, these are not high rollers per se. I think Jacquet's gonna start going up and rubbing elbows and being like, "Hey, Jacquet Touchard, the de facto leader of Iron and Mana. How are you?"
Absolutely. So what are some of those perception checks from folks?
16.
17.
Okay.
6.
Okay.
Bruce is not rolling. He's eating food.
Okay. Bruce's stuff in his face. Fear, and you've got too much blood in your eyes still. But the other two, you would recognize. One person particularly you would recognize immediately, and that is Cadmus is actually here amongst these crowds, rubbing shoulders. That's probably the only person though that you really recognize. The others seem to be more upper class folks you've never met before, perhaps other university professors, perhaps merchants from the upper city. But Cadmus is certainly someone who is here. But I'll say with the 16 and 17, there are probably two other people that stand out or at least one other person that stands out because you can see that she is walking around with a notebook. And that woman is a tall drow woman wearing an overcoat, a waistcoat, and some very fine clothing that is sort of this dark gray with gold trim and pinstripes, with a tie, golden tie, with these spectacles on the end of her nose. Hair held back really tight, almost slicked back in the tightest bun possible of white hair, with dusky purple skin, long drow ears, with just the smallest traditional drow tattoo on her cheek, just showing a a rune. But she is probably rubbing the most shoulders, walking around, talking to every single person. You presume that she's from the Hyven times.
Yeah, that's what I was going to guess. Okay.
You specifically do not see Kellen, I would say, since I know that he was mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
And
I think I was looking for him, and
Yeah.
I probably failed on my perception, so I don't.
I mean,
see her.
you at the very least don't see him around. But yeah, if you'd like, you could just wait for Doyle to come to bring you to the governor and the Commodore, or you can spend some time here. Which would you prefer?
I mean, like I said, Jacquet is like, rubbing elbows and stuff, but I think it's more he's just trying to like talk up
Yeah.
the party and just, as Fiorin always likes to do, collecting business cards, or he's not handing them out, but he's going like, oh, here, sure, I'd love to do some work for you if you ever need it. Oh, sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah, there would be plenty of small conversations to enter, which people are happily invite you to, and a lot of very like surface level congratulations and like, oh, we should definitely work together.
But of course.
many new business ventures that need good sanctioned heroes to help with, and some people being like, oh, I cannot believe the type of machine your ally had. It's a marvel. Some people saying like it was truly frightening to see such a display, but you all came out on top, and I'm sure your coffers will be full because of it.
Did you see how I did the thing with the explosion and kicked it off? It's pretty epic, right?
Oh, of course. You can tell that person probably did not see that part. Like, yes, naturally, of course you did the thing. And then like a few, like not a lot, but a few kind of, definitely in the minority, you would find some people kind of like scoffing at you, sort of with little tiny comments like, I'm sure the governor has many uses for you.
Oh, and I'm sure that you would do great against anything that stands in your way. Oh, sure. Don't call me Jacquet. Jacquet is very happy to burn bridges with anyone that questions the party's
Capabilities.
Yeah, thank you.
But eventually Doyle would come and gather you all together and say, if you'll join me out back, the governor and the Commodore would prefer to meet with you not amongst so many guests.
Fair.
Right this way. And he leads you out through a opening in the tent that's kind of behind some of the supplies and some of the auditors. Not an entrance and exit used by guests. And it brings you out to a lovely section of the dock side of Harborside, which is overlooking the waters now. The day's gotten a little later. It's still early afternoon, but the sun is shining bright and the water is glistening with that sunlight. As folks have left the ships and gathered in the streets, they are in a semi-private area where you can see the governor is leaning against the wooden rails on the side of this stone wharf, and the Commodore is right next to him. And as you're approaching, you can see the Commodore. She had that very sleek dress on. You can see she pulls from a bag a little customized cigarette case and takes one out and begins to smoke it as you approach. And she does kind of give you all a quick, not like judgmental glance, but more like, I don't care as much about this as the governor does. Is sort of the impression you get from her look to you all. And you've done your job essentially, and she doesn't really necessarily have much else use for you right now. The governor, on the other hand, turns and sees you all and does clap his hands together. And you see he very quickly waves the smoke out of his face and does make a grimacing look towards her. That he also has a slight Jacquet-esque disapproval of the smoking. As he would look and say, "Adventurers, iron and mana. Suppose we can drop some of the theatrics now. Brilliant display. Truly, I did not expect you all to live."
So then why set up such a thing?
Because I wanted to actually test you.
In a public forum like that? Something
course.
that immediately questions the authority that you just stated before the people?
Except what I stated to the people is that this was your attempt to prove your valiantness. If you had failed, then I would say to them, I challenge you to step up where they failed.
Jacquet just, sits back and nods like, yeah, you know what, that makes sense. I like the cut of your jib. I like the cut of your jib.
It is still, I would say, regardless of his justification, it is still off-putting that he absolutely would have not batted an eye if you all died in that fight. Well, I believe a part of our exchange here is that you have some of my time and my ear for such a display, and for such a display, I am happy to hear whatever you have proposition. Or whatever you wish to talk about. Doesn't need to be proposition. We could just be friends for 5 minutes, of course. But I have a feeling, and he shakes his hand and looks to Jacquet and then to all of you, that you have more at stake here, or more interest. So, what can I do for you?
Well,
Septimus.
Looks at Septimus.
Everyone looks at Septimus, except probably Fearn, who's very eager to...
Fearn was like about to say something and then looks at everyone else and is like,
Practice, remember?
First off, Governor, we're happy to show such a great display to you, to Hyven, for the work that you propose in the future to come. But I must say, I would be remiss if I didn't quickly at least point out the machina that you had thrown at us. I don't think you understand the potential that is behind it. As he like brings over Sal and like really like formally introduces him to like what he is, like pulling off some of the stuff if like you didn't realize yet. It's like, this is Sal, my companion. As you can see, performed valiantly in the fight.
Yes.
Is there any way that we might be able to salvage what was left in the depths of the creature? I would love to study it. I think it would be great for the city of Hyven if I could learn from it and have it be a protector itself instead of just a beast that just fought mindlessly. There's so much potential. There's more to these creatures than you understand.
And as you're like getting excited and saying all these things, he kind of begins to hold his hand out to temper your excitement. Septimus, is it? I understand your enthusiasm. As a worldly man myself, I understand these machina are not the boogeyman that the people of Asia fear. There are capabilities, but you must move at the pace of the people sometimes. And I don't believe a vast machina wandering the streets of Hyven is a good look, necessarily, as I proposition them with freedom. And to your questions of salvage, this machina still belongs to me, no matter where it is at the time. I will salvage it for my own purposes. Now, if you wish to offer your services in that salvage, perhaps we can come to an arrangement. or some sort of arrangement for you to gain access in exchange for continued services, or if you perhaps decide it is within your motivations to perhaps pledge some sort of fealty to join the crew. As I said, the offer stands for every man, woman, and child who currently resides in the Aldhalor Islands.
Well, no, go ahead.
I was going to say Septimus just turns to the party for a second to see their reaction to him saying that.
You see, Governor, we're, our business is only budding. We've been in town for a while, but we haven't been, we don't have a lot of acclaim, as Dolan has pointed out, and, we have our
Jacquet
own...
laughs at this. Out loud, Jacquet goes, "Oh, Dolan, that's a good one."
Anyway, your offer, I'm sure, is very generous. However, we prefer not to be locked down in any way, without knowing the terms first. You say that we must swear fealty, but are those, does that come with oaths? Is that something that has
this
any
is not
major requirements on
this
us?
is not a knighthood or some military service that I am offering you. This is simply a citizenship.
Is this a contract?
It's somewhat a contract to maintain your rights as a crew member of the Aldhalor Islands.
So not a written or verbal, or is there a magical contract? This is just a straight.
Oh, no
verbal
magic.
contract.
No magic. No,
Okay.
and we are not fall under such brutalistic terms when it comes to those who wish to be a part of our crew. This is a paper contract, traditional. It simply is that you will abide by the rules of Saipajan's crew. And with those rules that you abide by, you would gain rights of voting, having a say within Ivan and with Eja and within the Aldhalor Islands. Priority when considerations of state programming, as he looks over to Septimus. And the full rights of an Aldhalor citizen. Of course, if you wish to stay outside of that purview, that is not a problem with me at all. All are welcome in Aldhalor, even if they are not citizens. We are a country of various backgrounds and peoples coming together. Many refugees, of course, as he again looks to Septimus.
Well, I believe that Hyven is slowly becoming our home, and we wish to stay here as it improves in the future. And if your rules or oaths need to be sworn in order for us to work properly under you, then I suppose there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, there's no requirement. Of course, I will be sure that our offices will work with you again after such a display and such a public endorsement. But there's no requirement to join the citizenship crew to work with us.
Is there an issue if I require dual citizenship?
Are you of Halcyon? Bruce, was it?
That's right.
Again, we do not turn any away if they are willing to join the crew. Your allegiance to Halcyon will not be a problem. It may be a problem to Halcyon. It is not to us. We welcome those from the great city.
All right.
Sean, what is his demeanor like? Does it seem like he's being forthright? Does it seem like he's hiding anything?
Give me an insight check.
Thank you. Where's my... There it is. Just a 3.
I want to like. He is indiscernible to you. He is an enigma. He is a mystery.
I brought a snack with me, so I'm just kind of
Yeah.
looking.
As you're eating those the fruit from the the buffet, you're just, I imagine he's every now and then looking to you as he's talking to them, as you just have this perplexed look.
No, just open mouth chewing the strawberry.
And Halcyon would maybe have a problem with that. Are you okay? Do you have a question?
No, I'm fine. Sorry, it's just really, really good strawberries.
Yes, I find strawberries to be quite perplexing as well.
Septimus contemplating for a second, stroking his face. Is like, I see the Aldhalor being on the rise. I think there's much greatness that could be achieved, especially with working with the Machina. And I've seen the good that you have done since my family had moved here. I would pledge my support if you continue to share the country in this prosperity and gaining of knowledge. And don't forget, your concerns about the Machina are not lost on me. It's taken me quite some strength to be more open about Sal here. But allow me to be your word, to voice the greatness, and soon any sort of concerns or off-putting of the people could be quelled.
I do see a very distinct benefit of having public opinion change on the Machina. It is a slow-moving ship. And of course, I will not be in Hyven at all times. I am planning to be here at least once a month during the construction of the rail system. So you can direct most of your communications you wish to send my way to the Commodore's office. As you can see, she still looks very disinterested, is finishing up her cigarette and looks back to each of you with sort of a curt nod.
Governor, I would pledge my loyalty as well. But before I do that, I do have a proposal for you. Investment opportunity for you. I don't know if you've walked around or had time to really see the infrastructure in Hyven.
Not with my own eyes, but with my extended eyes.
All right. Well, the fact that you've had resources already look into this. Hyven is needs a lot of reconstruction. There are many real estate opportunities for you. I have direct ties to Koboko back in Halcyon. Are you aware of that?
I am, although I was not as aware as I've come to be. One of my auditors had expressed some interest in your business.
I could eventually show you some examples of their work, but have you ever been to Halcyon?
I have. It's been some time. I have been there personally when signing the last accord with them to cease the targeting of their vessels.
Well, over there they've developed we've developed a bunch of residential buildings, as well as the great library over on Red Street. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I have not. Unfortunately, much of my stay in Halcyon was for political purposes. I didn't have much time for tourism.
Anyway, my point is, seems like you want to prosper and build these railroads. I feel like investing in the real estate here in Hyven might be in your best interest.
There has been significant investment from my offices in land purchases for these rails. The hope being these folk will move to Hyven and invest that money into the city. Much of the eastern coastlines has suffered greatly in the last year, and the capital must disperse its grace across them equally.
I would agree. There are quite many struggles on the eastern side of Hyven.
But
I
Eja has received the worst of these, being in direct line of the storm last year.
Septimus kind of like just looks to the side for a bit, a little sullenly.
So if I can, small investment into Kobako, give them a station here, they can get to work and start making these properties viable.
I will be leaving Emile Ducantier, who is your contact, who put a good word in for you all. He'll be my head auditor within Hyven. So perhaps it is best you speak with him more frequently, actually, than the Commodore's office. As he looks over to the Commodore. And this she grows interested in. And she looks in and says, Governor, I don't believe that is necessary. They could work with all people. No. Maybe not necessary, but it's what I want. As he looks over at her, and her eyes avert down, and she kind of steps back, clearly irritated, but submitting to the hierarchy.
Anyway, I pledge my allegiance.
Well, give it some time. I have been told you are going on a journey. When you return, I'll have the work ready for you all if you wish to sign and join the citizenship crew of Aldhalor.
Sorry, you can go first.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I just have some concerns. You speak very highly of this railroad system. I'm not familiar, but what do you plan to do about the crime in Hyven?
Always the question in the Outer Islands, what to do about crime.
Fair, and that's what I was supposed to talk about. I have my...
All right, go ahead.
Do you have something to contribute?
Can I be honest? First of all, these fucking strawberries delicious. Second of all, I don't know if I want to pledge or join a crew. I've been on a couple of crews myself. The last one I was on kind of betrayed me, so you'll forgive me if if I'm a little hesitant. Yes. Also, I'm sorry for almost dying there in the I'm usually much better on the water. Anyway, crime. It's bad. We can help with that. If that would be something that you're interested in, potentially. We've, may have gotten...
Sorry, God.
Septimus. That's okay.
The barbecue pork may have not created the stomach.
We've may have or may not have. I'm not going to confirm or deny our involvement in some of the crime for the betterment of Hyven. Obviously. There's this one person, fuck, I'm doing a shit job.
Reeves.
What?
Reeves.
Yes, thank you. I was getting there. I didn't know if I wanted to say it or if I didn't want to, but you fucking said it. So, yes, Mr. Greaves. Does that name mean anything to you? Potentially.
And This is like the first person who you've talked to who's not immediately like gotten a serious scowl on their face or showed fear at the name. He laughs actually. He gives somewhat of a guffaw, I'll say. The Commodore though, she doesn't have a scared look. She more so is like glares at you, Sass, for mentioning a crime lord of the city that she's trying to present as cleaner. And he goes, as he looks to the Commodore, I have been briefed on this Mr. Greaves and his operations and his investments and businesses, as well as a full audit of said investments and businesses. Now, the crime in Hyven, much like the crime in the Alfda Islands, much like the crime of the world, is split between that which, as you said, is for Hyven, and that which is for criminals. If you were to be joining my crew, you would not be so easily betrayed, as there's a code that goes with this crew. But of course, you could leave at any time. And the crime, well, let's just say there will be a full audit of it, and it will be discerned what is crime and what is not.
Sean,
yes.
May I do an insight check on both the Commodore and the Governor based on their responses and initial reactions to the names, Mr. Greaves?
Sure.
23.
23. Okay. So judging from the Commodore's face and even her face while he's been saying these other things as well, she looks more anxious during this part of the conversation, when before it was entirely indifference. But as he's been talking about crime, particularly, and the mention of Greaves, she has grown more interested by the second and looking a little more perturbed and anxious. Now, granted, these are very like minor things you're noticing since you rolled quite high. It's not like she's like sitting there shaking in her boots.
Right.
But what you notice, raising of the eyebrow, quick looks, thoughtful pauses. The Governor, on the other hand, is still somewhat of an enigma. But I'd say with a 23, what you can pull from this is, as he talks about Greaves and this, suddenly, Jacquette, you see the pirate in him. Especially with this last line, we will decide what is and what is not a crime. This is a man playing many dimensions of chess. But of course, perhaps that is discussions for another time, as I believe our time is up. The last thing I'll say about the crime is I would rather not have the first sanctioned adventuring company involved in law enforcement. It's not a good look.
No, of course not. We of Iron and Mana are here to defeat the monsters, free the people, and of course, make you and the Commodore look as best as we can.
I recognize the speech of a bard.
I'm sure you do, as I recognize the talk of a pirate.
He grins at you, eagerly accepting almost a challenge there. Well, Iron and Mana, first sanctioned adventuring company, the Alfda Islands.
And maybe we keep that only, if only for a few weeks or months.
I'm sure it will take time before the word spreads and other capable individuals decide that they would like to rebrand themselves and further decide what is and what is not crime anymore. Pirate to privateer, so to speak. Well, I believe that is all the time I have with you. I'm sure there are many adoring, important people in that tent who are looking for you. And I'm sure the Commodore will have more word for you when you return from your journey. And I will have the paperwork ready for you, if you so wish to join the Aldhalor people. And he nods to you all, and goes to shake each of your hands, as suddenly he is a politician again. As he shakes your hands. Good show today.
Bruce
True
guesses where his
champions.
hand
There's this awkward moment, where Bruce's hand is going all over the place. He grabs it with both his hands and shakes vigorously.
When he shakes Jacquette's hand, Jacquette kind of pulls him in a little, more of like grabbing him and like, it's more Jacquette stepping in than he is pulling in the Commodore or the governor. But he goes, I look forward to seeing how you define crime, Governor.
In the interesting thing that happens here, Jacquette, he grins at you, and then you notice him look past you, and you all did not see this man at all. But without you even being aware, Jacquette, that you feel a tall presence behind you after you stepped in, and you can all turn and look and see the knight earlier with the armament weaponry, the armament goggles, with the red beard and long hair is standing right behind Jacquette suddenly. Like, truly, you did not see this man 5 seconds ago. And then he nods to you and says, or the governor nods to you and says, and I look forward to seeing where you arrive within that question.
Jacquette pats the governor on the shoulder, and then how close is the knight?
Like he's like right behind, the tips of his metal boots are an inch from your boots, the back of your boots.
And then wraps the metal plate of the bodyguard, and then slides out between the two. He goes, I should get me one of those. Fjern?
Fjern doesn't break eye contact. As soon as this guy appeared out of nowhere, he was on like full alert. Like,
yeah.
It's the sort of thing where I'm just like staring down this big guy, and I'm just like, to
Sean, so Bruce can't discern when people are invisible and visible. Would Bruce? I mean, he wouldn't even pointed this out, but would Bruce have known that the guy was even around, or did he actually just teleport?
That's a good question.
Did he just suddenly appear?
So Bruce, he suddenly appeared. Like, and you would have noticed that actually, as with your sight, the way your sight is, you would have just sort of, and you would surmise this man did in some way teleport to this spot.
And then Jacquette would go up to the Commodore as well and go, Commodore Umidori, I apologize, we did not officially exchange greetings, but it's an honor to make your acquaintance, and I hope to speak more with you in the future. And then he's going to give a sidelong look to the governor, on your own terms, as it were.
And you see she, with that expression, like I wouldn't say that she softens, but with kind of carrying over your 23 insight here, she respects what your statement there, and her ambivalence to you all shifts to not interest but curiosity, as she would nod to you and look to the rest of you and say, Iron and Mana, I'm sure this will not be the last we meet, and I'm sure there's much more to be done. Stop by my offices when you return. On my terms. As she looks to Jacquette.
Little wink, and Jacquette leaves.
And she actually stays there and just leans against the railing and looks out to the waters, like any NPC in a level that just finished talking to you all. And you all
Damn
can.
it, I was muted.
Oh, did you have something?
I was gonna say I tried talking to her again. She's like,
she completely
come to my office when you return.
On my terms. She just says over and over again. No, if you do want to say something, Jacques can step away.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay. But I guess she is there if anyone wants to continue talking to her or ask her anything. Otherwise, you all can return to the tent or.
I think Fearn might mention one quick thing before leaving. He'll just be like, well, I've been in town for quite a while, and I've learned a lot about many different aspects of Hyven. I would love to sit down and talk about our party's findings, both illegal and legal, achievements that we, things that we can do to make Hyven a better place.
And you see she's leaning against this railing, looking out at the water, and she doesn't make eye contact with you. She's kind of like staring quite coldly out there. The general vibe all of you get of the Commodore is that she just generally has this ambivalent nature to her, and she has this cold stare that she's giving as she looks to the sea and says, I almost just said the same last line. Just no. She just goes, your findings. Well, when you return, I'm sure you can present something to my officers. With the governor's investments, I will be in Hyven more frequently than I have been in the past. It has been a while since I've known much of the goings-on in this city. And you can tell from this, I'd say, without an insight check, anyone who's still there, like, she doesn't like Hyven, it sounds like. She's not, and anything you've heard about her is that she doesn't spend a lot of time here, despite having a manor here.
On my way out, I'll just I'll be like taking my bowl of my now empty bowl of strawberries and walking, but like clocking that look on the way out. Just one very quick question. Why now all of a sudden? Just why? And I guess this goes to you too, Captain. Why now? Why do you want to make all these changes and all these investments now?
You're asking the Commodore?
Yeah, and
because the governor's left.
But all right, well.
He walked away with his big guard.
I looked around. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So then, just to the Commodore.
And she again does not break her stare out to the water. Maybe you see like her eyes turn and she looks at you from her peripheries, but she doesn't break her stare. As she actually just pulls out another cigarette at this point and lights it, and then sits up and does finally like look to you. And she looks you up and down, Sass. She's very much so taking you in, like thinking like, who is this girl? And just sort of leaning against the railing, cigarette up. She looks and says, "Where are you from?"
Jacques laughs.
You left.
He laughs, echoing in your head.
She steps closer to you now.
Yeah.
She's now actually staring really hard at you. He's from the north. She points to Fearn. The little ones from Halcyon. The man with the machine is native. The cat is from Gwenvalia. But I don't know, as she ashes the cigarette and then takes a big puff of it, who you are or where you're from.
I'm like trying. The first thing I do is try to actively remember. Nothing.
Yeah.
So then
Big
I
old
will
empty black void.
Yeah. I'll start like stuttering, and then I'll look out to the ocean, and then big smile. Just say, I'm from the sea. That is where I live.
She does not break her serious stare, and she just says, "Cute. You have the rough hands of a sailor. You don't seem to have the brutality of a pirate.
Not all
Perhaps
pirates are- Sorry.
Perhaps the wit and survivability of a scrapper. A scavenger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that
From
right?
the bottom of the sea in the shallows." As she suddenly leans back, like she's completely read you at that point. Like she's finished analyzing and scanning you.
Mm. You're not wrong.
Playing at... I've met many like you. And I believe the investments in Hyven are to reduce the amount of people playing pirate.
Ah. Well, you've made yourself abundantly clear, then. I give her a little salute, and I walk away.
She returns to her spot on her auto response now. As you can all go back into the guest of honor tent if you'd like and continue eating and drinking.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys think of them?
Oh, this governor character. I don't know what griff he's playing, but it's a long con, and I'm here for it.
I don't know. He seemed a little hesitant towards the end, and he also mentioned it wasn't a contract, but he also he was speaking about papers at the end. I mean, don't really know what we're getting ourselves into.
And when he gives us the contract, we'll know what we're getting into. I'll rate it over.
Do you guys understand what citizenship is? I'm sorry, is this a new concept for you?
Yes.
Oh.
Now that I think about it, yeah, like for most of them, probably, other than Septimus and Bruce.
So, when you're born into a place, right, usually you are from that place, right? Like whatever tribal place you're from, Fjern, you are a citizen of that tribe, right? You're a member of it. When people move around, you know, you keep where you're from, but occasionally it's possible to be from another new place where you decide to lay your roots. You know, in Gwenvalir, you know, it's usually not as big of a deal as here, but maybe things are changing, and I just don't know that.
Citizenship would be very important in Gwenvalir these days, as there's
Okay.
new structures, new organizations,
Gotcha.
like the way that you know, like part of like Ferothris would be like probably separated from the Empire now, and similar things. Like there's just everything is differently structured. After you know you kill an evil god and it lands on a city, everyone maybe rethinks their
modernity
world.
has come a knocking.
Exactly. There's still things like the monarchy of the Quintarchy still exists, but Endurus is independent, and Alicia has always had its you know its traditions.
But so, like, when you're a citizen of a place, like, say, like, you're off in Halcyon and you get killed in Halcyon, but you're an Alfdal citizen, it's then your remains would be shipped back to Aldhalor because, the nations have agreements and stuff like that.
Wait, hold
Over-
on. Does this citizenship have anything to do with the afterlife? Like, am I? I'm not gonna.
usually. No.
I'm a Northman. I would go to the nine hells after I die, right?
I think that's more upon religious beliefs than it is upon citizenship. So I think you're good for whatever. This basically just means that if you do anything bad, it's not just you that's at fault, but the Aldhalor Islands, because you are part of them, right? But vice versa, if the Aldhalor Islands are doing bad things, you're a part of them. So now you're bad. I mean, you probably don't see it that way. Generalizing.
But people from the north have been doing bad things for centuries, and I don't feel responsible for that.
Right. Well, you have a different understanding about how the world works, so that's on you. But here in civilization, we see things in a more refined, cultured way.
What's so refined about taking responsibility for others' actions?
This is a very long discussion about tribalism and the building of nations and advancing as societies. So we'll talk about that off screen. The point is that this is the general trajectory of civilizations.
Saskia would butt in at this point and kind of just blurt out, Commodore hurts my feelings.
This interrupts the budding argument about society forming between Fear and
Okay,
Quest.
Saskia, what'd she say?
Well, first of all, she asked me where I was from. And
Laughs.
why do you keep laughing at that question?
Well, because it's something that you struggle with, and I just think it's.
You think that's funny? You think it's funny when I can't answer a question? When I
think it's a
struggle with the
level-
question?
I think
That's
it's a
kind of
level
rude.
of irony that it gets asked of you in a kind of pivotal sense where you're meeting a important person. You can't necessarily identify that. What did you end up telling her? Sorry.
Well, first of all, my feelings are hurt enough. I don't need it anymore. I told her I was from the sea, and she said, "Cute."
I like her. I like her a lot.
Well, I don't.
I mean, you told her what you knew. That's fine.
Right. Thank
It's
you.
okay.
That's what I
It's
thought.
okay, Saskia.
But then she was looking at me like just like reading me, and it's like she knew more about me than I know about me, and I don't like that.
Saskia, some people are just assholes around here. You know how Jacquet, just looks at you and says witty things, and you kind of look at him like, "Hey, why'd you say that?" Some
He
people are
just winks.
pricks. It's all right.
No. And
I
she
get made
told
fun.
me-
I get made fun of all the time because I'm a kobold and I don't belong here. I get told to go back in the ground.
Oh. Well, next time
no.
somebody says that, I'm gonna stomp them into the ground. Just let me know. I
Thank
don't
you,
know. She
Saskia.
told me I was playing pirate, and I mean, there can be all kinds of different pirates, right? Like you don't have to be brutal, right?
I always understood it as a, you thief, you
Negative
loot.
thing.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe you could warp the definition of it for me.
I
But
don't know. I just
How do you feel about what the governor said about privateers versus pirates?
I prefer the term pirate. Sounds
Tomato,
like-
tomato. It's the same thing.
Is it though?
Depending on who you ask, I think the victims don't really care. If they're stealing gold and goods, they're bad people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're sanctioned by a government or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused, I guess.
I know.
I'm very curious about the
Thanks.
contract when we get it, though.
Mm.
But I'll make sure, there's nothing too crazy in there.
Well,
It's okay. I can forge my own signature, so nothing I sign is ever legally binding.
Yeah. I did hear of one trick where somebody can write down something and then someone else sees something else, but they actually wrote something. It's kind of like an illusionary script. You ever hear that?
Yes, I had that spell until I thought better of it.
Yeah, well, you should reconsider.
And it's as you are discussing the contract of citizenship for the Aldhalor Islands and Sass's hurt feelings, as you're all kind of gathered together talking about this, the drow woman would be beelining towards you. Like you, anyone with a passive perception of 10 or higher would notice out of the corner of their eye this woman making a beeline for you all, looking eager to meet you. As she would come up immediately to Jacquette, since he's the one who kind of gave the presentation, and would put her hand out immediately to shake your hand. And if you respond, she'll grab it and shake it and go, Cass Alafina, Editor-in-Chief of the Hyven Times. A pleasure to meet you. A pleasure to meet you all. As she would then go to each of you and say her name again to each of you. Cass Alafina, Editor-in-Chief of the Hyven Times. Absolute pleasure to meet each of you. She would then step back with her little notebook in hand and look to each of you and say, can I get a quote from you? Any of you? About today's events? A comment?
You don't need a quote from us. You saw exactly what you needed to out there. You saw iron and mana, defeating the evil machina.
Correction, not evil. Misunderstood.
She's writing everything you're saying down. Yes, not evil at all. Misunderstood, I hear.
I don't know what a quote is. Why don't you ask me a question?
Well, a comment. What do you think about the rail system coming? Or what do you think about being the first sanctioned adventuring company of the Aldhalor Islands?
Yeah. I'm going to hell when I die. But
Fair, okay. I'm sure many of us are.
but I'm very honored to be working with the governor and helping the people of Hyven.
Honored to be working for the governor. And any other comments? You mentioned a great affinity towards the machina there, as she looks to you, Septimus.
I was going to say, do not be confused by the enemy that we faced, for there's much knowledge and greatness that could be achieved by studying them.
And it's as you start to say this and talking more, she lets go of the pen and it continues writing. And she lets go of the book and it starts to float and she kind of crosses her arms and leans on, like, kind of on one hip and looks and goes, interesting. And how long have you been working with such machina as the one that helped you in the fight?
I've known him since my my adolescence.
Known him? You speak as if he's a brother.
Well, we have been through quite a lot.
Have a lot of sympathy for this creature.
He saved my life once or twice. Of course I do.
Curious. Any more information about that? Could make it for a good piece.
We'll discuss a full interview you can have with Septimus, for the right cost, of course. But for now, just know that Iron and Mana is happy to serve the people of Hyven and hope to bring peace and prosperity for all. Put that as your tagline.
She grins at you, Jacquette. Ah, so you're the public face, and you may be the internal face. How about you? And she looks to Sass and Bruce. What are your roles in this little party? You're clearly the muscle. As she looks over to Fearn.
Yeah, fuck you too.
Oh, I'll put that in the piece.
No, please, Fearn, we're gonna have to do a PR bit with you. You're gonna have to take a class.
You never stop asking questions, you get your quote.
I And Sass looks very just like confused and very like unsure of what to say, and then she'll just blurt, "I can do magic."
Ah. What sort of magic?
Yeah.
I saw that flailing tentacle thing out there in the fight.
Yes,
Very interesting.
That was mine. I can
Good
breathe
barnacle basher
underwater.
that was.
Sure. Yeah. I can breathe underwater. I can swim pretty well. I'm not very interesting. You don't have to pretend. It's fine.
Any other skills on your resume?
Sasuke's very interesting. She could fight like all hell. But my role here is just to kind of support these guys. That's all I do. I just hype them
Not
up.
just what you do.
I give them
Bruce.
morale and yeah.
He sets brilliant traps.
Ah,
Brilliant traps.
a trapper.
I don't. Sure.
The pen is furiously scribbling. You are quite the eclectic group for the first sanctioned adventuring company of Aldhalor.
And only.
And only as of today. We'll see about tomorrow.
That's all the information we're going to give you.
Well, that's excellent. I had one last question before I let you all go. Any comments on the crime in Aldhalor?
Well, I don't know if we can speak to crime as a whole in Aldhalor, but in Hyven, it's a terrible, terrible thing. And those
Why don't
behind
you
it
speak
should
to
know.
your buddy Kellen about that?
She looks to Fear, but then looks right back to you, Jacquette.
Those that wish ill on the people of Hyven should know that their time will come.
Yes. And Jacquette Touchard, correct?
Yeah, so you may know me as Jackie Touche, played down at the Harlequin and Chalice.
Yes, of
Be
course.
coming all over the city.
Yes. Henry wrote a piece about you. That's right, about your performance. So, Jacquette Touchard, quite a quote from you on crime. There have been some rumors about some of your associations.
Well, you know what they say about rumors. People like to spread them, like herpes, but, you should be careful who you give it to.
Of course. Yes, Kellen has done quite a bit of reporting and investigations into the crime in the city. I just thought it'd be interesting to get all of your perspectives as the new heroes. But I think I've gotten everything I need.
Oh.
And then she looks to you, Septimus, unless, of course, there's more.
My thought was, I've seen the good that St. Pajan had done for the country. And crime is usually caused by those who are downtrodden and despaired. With the great work that we shall accomplish and bringing Aldhalor into the future, we hope that crime would resolve itself.
No, quite astute. Well, I think that's enough to write the article for the next issue about this great announcement.
While I'm close to her, can I peek over and see what the notebook is writing?
Go and give me a perception check.
14.
So you'll notice, I'll say you notice a little bit before it kind of like pulls itself back. And like, Jacques, you even like kind of notice like she didn't like pull it back. Like it looks almost as if the notebook noticed you looking at it.
Right.
As you would just peek. Basically, the gist of what you see is like a questionable quote or a questionable sentence about you all being like, where are they from? What allegiances do they have? Are they just puppets for the governor? Stuff along those lines, kind of trash reporting about you, essentially.
Right. Hey, wait a minute. We didn't say some of that stuff. We're not just puppets.
She immediately snatches the pen off of the journal and grabs the journal and pulls it in tight. And the journal almost like, those of you with a 12 or higher passive perception, notice the journal kind of wiggles as if she's grabbed a sentient thing away and like pulled like a pet into her arms. And she looks and goes, well, I'm sure you'll be represented great and accurately within our reporting. Please continue investing
That a
in
true statement?
advertisements within our paper. There will be a disclaimer that you do purchase advertising time within our article about the announcements. But I think that's all that I have for you all. Have a good evening. Enjoy the party. Sure, I'll see you later. Ta-ta. And she literally
If you
just
write
walks
anything
away really
bad, I'm
fast.
taking my money back. Could I? I don't know. Is there any chance while she was like rambling on like her goodbyes for me to like snatch that notebook away from her?
Like directly from her. She's holding it tight to her chest. That would be a rash move.
Fearon's a
Like
rash
an
man.
aggressive assault on a known
Ooh,
entity
yeah.
within high society of Hyven. If Fearon wants to start,
After being quoted about the crime.
No scum
Yeah.
saving.
Go ahead, Fearon. Go get yourself arrested. We're still gonna go on a boat tomorrow.
She rather swiftly like says her last sentence, and she was already backing away as she said it, as she clearly got everything she wanted to get out of you and is vanishing quickly. But
I don't like newspaper people.
they're just trying to, get a story that sells as many copies as possible. Don't worry. In the end, the people will know that we're good and they suck. Septimus, that was a very astute thing you said about crime and poverty. Do you really think that crime is bred out of the poor, or do you think that there are those that use those? And then Jacquette will actually instigate a conversation about class disparageness, and socioeconomic issues, and where they might stem from. I've just always seen, it's a conflict between classes, the rich and the poor.
Yeah,
but it's not just the poor. I think it's the poor that's localized in a sprawling urban center. I mean, I grew up poor myself, but I didn't turn to a life of crime. I think it has to do more with the community. It has to do more with the community and that you have, the support system as well.
as I'm sure a robust conversation about class, crime, and society comes forth as you all continue eating. Some other folks do walk up to you and say their congrats. You would get at the very least, a nod from across the room with maybe a glass of champagne lifted from Cadmus, and a few other folks. But unless there's anything particular you want to investigate here or look for, we can move on to after the party when you head back to your homes. Well, not homes, your rooms.
The after party. Where's the after party?
Well, it's later on when you're leaving. Maybe it's like around sunset after you spent the afternoon here. Like the streets are like there's an all-out party happening in the streets of Hyven. Like when you guys, yeah, like absolutely like Bourbon Street-esque. Like people like you see some of the taverns have like outdoor bars set up where they're just serving drinks on the street. There's people selling different things. There's food vendors all over the place. People are in costumes. There seems to be some of the people who worked the parade have taken some of the decorations from the parade and brought them out into the streets. There's lights everywhere. You see some like low-level magic users shooting off different illusions and whatnot. It's quite an exciting time going on in the streets as you're walking up and down Main Street. So you can keep partying if you want.
I think I would I'd see all of this, and on a regular day, I'd be all for it. This would be I'd be all up in it, partying with the rest of them. But the Commodore's words are still bothering me. So I think instead of going back to the hostel, I'm just going to go sleep on the beach and be next to the water because I find that to be very comforting. So I will turn my back on the festivities and just go sleep under a dock.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are very public though now. Like people, when they see you, are are pulling you over. People are trying to offer you drinks as you pass by. Several parties are trying to invite you to hang out with them for the rest of the night. There's a few tough guys who might even be looking at you all like huh, I could have done that. And when you get to the beach, Sass, like, this is a party night. There are other people all over the beach at this point. It's not as quiet as you've noticed. There's a few passed out drunks also underneath the dock where you normally pass out.
Yeah.
So
Huddle, a couple of couples,
Yeah.
canoodling.
a couple of rendezvous are happening.
Is there like a jetty or something? You can go sleep on a rock.
Yeah, you can walk out onto one of the jetties.
Yeah. I like that idea. I'll go rock scramble, and then go kind of as far out as I can go, and just kind of dangle a leg off the side of a rock.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do so, and you kind of get maybe a little distracted by a little pool of water in the jetty where you can see a couple crabs are fighting over some scraps as the sun is setting. As the rest of you head back to your Castle Crow.
Jacquet's partying.
Yeah, I
Jacquet
imagine.
is like immediately like, oh, you want Jackie Touche? Okay.
Yeah.
I think, Fionn would be partying with Jacquet, definitely. But at some point, he might just, like, lean over and just say, the governor, he told us not to go, that mech thing was his, right? When we asked to look at it?
Blow on these for me quick, Fionn.
Yeah.
Snake eyes! Alright, give me my silver, buddies. Come on, you saw it. It's his lucky breath. I think there's ice in it. He said that he was gonna salvage it and maybe would let us help and have some research potential for, the nerds, but otherwise he seemed rather possessive of it.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, we killed it, that means we lay claim. That's like hunting number 101.
I think pirates play by different rules. You'll have to ask Saskia about salvagers' rights. I don't know if necessarily we get those rights by killing it. I think since he's the one that brought it there. But what do I know? I'm just at the backseat. One more time for the Gipper?
I know a little bit about
Aaron?
maritime... I know a
Thank
little
you.
bit about maritime law. I like flotsam and jetsam. I was on a pirate ship for a few once.
Well, I mean, if you want to bring it up with him again, be my guest, but we had planned to head out on the morrow to get up to Stony Heath, so... Not a lot of time to really get down there, if you know what I'm saying. When we get back, if it's still not resolved, you hear that, DM? If it's still not resolved, maybe we can get involved, but I think we're a little pressed for time and activities.
Alright, I'm just looking out. I know Septimus seemed really, interested in it. Maybe we could have had Sass sneak down there and grab something small for us before he gets the chance, but whatever.
Jacquet's in the middle of... Sass, sneak it down, you say? Right under his nose.
Just two giant steins get dropped down in front of you two as someone has bought you like a massive drink, and it's brightly colored, fruity, as it is in just these tall clear steins.
Fionn takes both steins and double fists them because he's got the dice in his hands.
Hey, wait. I was just gonna say, I think fate has other ideas for us tonight, my friend, so... Let's drink and be merry and worry about this on the morrow, huh?
I could take these to go.
Oh,
you mean party.
I don't remember what I bet on, but I think I won anyways. Come on, give it here.
Okay. So as Jacquet continues to feed his gambling addiction and Fionn drinks his fruity cocktails, the night goes on as the two have a very good time. And I'm assuming Bruce and Septimus are not in the partying mood.
No. Septimus is not partying. Septimus would actually be at the pier or dock,
Yeah.
wherever where we fought the machina. And he's just on the stone ledge. He's not on the rafters anyway, but he's just kind of like just looking down at the water, deep in thought, where he wants so much to just take a look at the machina, but can't just bring himself to jump into the water. And so he's just caught in this just like this constant cycle of like being like trying to like be courageous and get over his fear and then just backing down. And ultimately not go down. He'll cap the night off, probably just regrettably going back to the inn.
I imagine like there's different moments where you're like, oh, I'll just crawl down, and like you start to crawl down, and then
it's also the added weight of the fact that it's dark now too. Where it's just like, I can't see anything.
Absolutely. Bruce, what would you be up to?
Oh, Bruce would be like just getting ready for the big day tomorrow.
Yeah, Bruce is like packing his bag, counting his things, having a nice, quiet early evening.
He might have, he might have stopped by like the craft store, and just picked up some additional things for his bird, his lollyrock, and see if he can improve it a little bit.
Yeah, Bruce, you like when you get to like the craft store too, like it's like clearly the person is like trying to close shop to go party. And they just keep like you're like asking them questions about things. Like, yep, okay, yep, sure, we could do that. We could do that. Okay, here you go. Here you go. That's a couple silver. You good? Okay, you good?
Come
on. All right, out the door. As quickly a closed sign gets turned over. As you can all finish out your evenings in your respective levels of partying and regret, and you can eventually find some sleep. And we will take a quick break. When we come back, you guys can wake up the next day for the next leg of your journey. Time to head to sea. All right, folks, we'll be back in a couple minutes, so please stick around as our heroes prepare to board the Otterly Seaworthy, a merchant vessel that has been prepared and booked for your travel. All right, we'll be back in a bit, folks. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody, to Adrift in Aldhalor. Our heroes got their 5 minutes of time with the governor, as well as, they're really more like 15 minutes of time. But the governor liked you guys, so he gave you a little extra time.
Really?
Or at least he wants to keep talking to you. The Commodore was less interested, although did have some interactions with a few of you, particularly hurting Sass's feelings, garnering a little bit of respect for Jacquette, and indicating to Fear that she might be disinterested in the city of Hyven. Then you guys were accosted by a reporter, Cass Alafina, the editor-in-chief of the Hyven Times, for her whatever piece she's writing for the governor's announcements and the new adventuring company in town. And now, after a night of either partying, regret, or both, you all have awoken the next morning in your respective places. Some of you with the splash of a wave in your face because you're sleeping on a rock jetty, and others in the comfort of their bed, although maybe with somewhat of a headache. As you all head out to the blaring sun on a warm autumn day, heading off to Harborside, you can see the streets are quite messy. And it's a bit of a shit show walking through the streets at the morning after a whole block party in a former pirate haven. You see some people passed out. You see some banners ripped apart. You see some people, regretfully awakening to the morning, and some lone street sweepers just looking at the mess with absolute horror. But you arrive to the docks. Sass, you are already on the Otterly Seaworthy. You are working. What are you doing, actually? I'll ask you.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
There's already a crew on the ship, right?
Correct.
Is there a
So this is a ship that's already operating. It already has a reason to be heading in that direction. There is a captain. You would have met him. He is a human. He is very grizzled. Skin is in a perpetual state of sunburn. Extremely wrinkled. Could be a sailor's 40 or a non-sailor's 75. His name is Galdus. He is from Gwenvalier. He's an old veteran and soldier who has taken on a life of a merchant, a small-time cargo shipper. He runs the ship with his daughter, Amira, who looks up to him greatly and somewhat kind of takes care of him because he is kind of, he does seem like he is actually a little older, even though it could just be the sun. He actually is probably in his 50s or 60s. She is around 20. Bright smile, tanned from the sun, hair bleached by the sun as well, held up in a bandana, a red bandana, as she is wearing the same clothes as the rest of the sailors and working very hard with the other sailors who seem to just be hired sailors from the area. Galdus tends to just hang out up on the upper deck, chain smoking cigarettes and staring down at the crew and occasionally barking an order. But Amira seems to run the show.
Got it. So then I would have talked to Amira first thing, just to see where I can be useful, and kind of with an air of trying to like prove myself as an experienced sailor here, and making a distinct impression that I know what I'm doing.
Okay, you can go ahead and give me a persuasion roll or any other charisma-based roll. You can do performance or persuasion.
Yeah.
Or deception if you don't think you're actually a good sailor.
Well, it's my highest stat.
But you do have experience.
No, I know what I'm doing. I'll do persuasion. Oh no.
What'd you get?
It was a natural 1 for a 5.
If it meets, it beats.
What's the DC?
Yeah, DC was a 5.
Oh
She's not like particularly discerning here. You really actually could not fail that. Now that I realize.
Even with a 1?
You said you got a 5.
I did.
Yeah. I am not the type who has ones be auto fails for
That's very fair.
For skill checks. She does. I will say she does look. It you get a little bit of a sense that it might be a pity. There's some pity involved in it since you just made the DC. Yep. But she basically kind of like looks around. She's scratching her head and she's like, I guess if you want, we can lower you on the side of the ship and you can scrape off some of the barnacles for us.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. The barnacle boy didn't show up today.
Yeah. No, I'm actually pretty experienced with that. I used to do that all the time. So yeah, sure. I can do that.
All right. Go over to Clem. He'll tie you off and lower you onto the side of the ship.
Okay. So then when the rest of them
Yep.
walk up, you see I'm already sweating, just suspended and just going at these stupid barnacles.
Yeah, Sass has a rope tied around her waist, and you can see another sailor yawning up top, holding onto the rope as she is just jamming at these barnacles, getting them off. Sweaty, probably a little sunburnt, as the four of you would arrive at dockside.
Back to the old grind, I see, Saskia.
That's right. This is apparently all I'm good at. Good morning.
See, this is why you stow away. That way you just spend all your days in the brig and you don't have to do any work at all.
No, the work's half the fun.
Permission to come aboard, Captain. I yell out to let the open air.
Yeah, and you would see, as you yell that out, Amira would step off or step along the gangplank to come down to meet you all. She has a sleeveless, stained shirt on. She has sort of a coat tied at her waist, heavy trousers on, boots. Very, very working class looking. As she's wiping some grime and salt water from her hands, as she looks down at you all, and goes, "All right, so you must be our passengers, right?"
That would be correct.
Cargo.
That's right. Saskia already talked to us about payment and that it's coming from the university, and we've signed all the paperwork, so there's nothing you need to worry about there. But welcome to the Otterly Seaworthy. Name's Mira, first mate here. Up there is my pa. He's a captain around here, but really I do a lot of the shouting and organizing. I would just recommend maybe staying out of his way. He's a bit grumpy and. He's got some bad memories from back home, some stress going on. So don't sneak up on him and don't shout particularly loud around him. It's a bit of a liability. So, only thing I ask of you. Clearly, you don't have to do any work. She wants to. So I'm not going to say no to some working hands. But if you at any point want to help out, let me know. Otherwise, you're free to roam the deck unless I say otherwise. And we got bunks down below. Sorry, it's not world-class accommodations, but we'll feed you. We'll get you there. And if you need to, we'll get you back.
Great.
Do you have any, go ahead, Septimus.
We'll be mainly traveling near the coastline, right?
So that's what I wanted to talk to you all about. So if we travel along the coastline, it is going to add some extra time to the trip. The direct route is 2 days, but if we're going to be hugging the coast the entire way, that is going to add a little bit of time.
We don't need to add any time. We can go over the open water. It's okay.
And truthfully, we're never leaving the bay because we're not going out into the actual true open ocean. I know that might, for the landlocked of y'all, I know that might not be much difference. You're still not going to be able to see the shore, but we're really not technically going out into the open ocean, into the Crancia Sea. But I understand you might be anxious. This was mentioned by Saskia. So we'll do what we can to accommodate you. But if we do want to make good time, we should go over the open bay.
Let's just make good on our time. It's okay, Septimus. You'll be fine.
Yeah, Septimus, why don't you come with me? We'll check out the lower decks.
Is that where we're staying?
Fine.
Yes.
The bunks are on the lower deck, where you'll be sleeping. We got a couple open up for you. We've put up a divider, so you have some privacy, the lot of you, from the sailors and whatnot. But once you're all settled in, feel free to roam around. And like I said, unless I ask you to, unless I ask you not to go somewhere or to stay below, you're good to roam.
Have you ever come into any piracy troubles or any other difficulties during this trip in the past?
The trips to Stony Heath doesn't really see too much piracy. It's usually when we're going further north or going around south, where we might see some action. But if we're just passing over the bay, I mean, I can't promise you no. There's always a risk of piracy unless we're hugging the coast. But it's very unlikely. Very unlikely. Any other questions, or are you all set?
Food. We got enough food. Everything.
Oh yeah, we've got
All
food for you. No worries. We'll charge it to the university.
You got lifeboats?
We've got a couple of rafts. We got plenty of buckets for puking.
And Crescent Heart, and Jacques just walks past them all to go below deck to put his things down.
She throws the rag over her shoulder that she was wiping her hands with, and looks back at him as he passes over. Bit of a prima donna, that one.
I heard that.
You
I
have
know.
No idea.
Wait,
Say
I'm
from-
coming. I want second dibs.
As I imagine Bruce very carefully going over the gangplank.
Oh, yes. He's holding up everybody else.
Yeah. And I imagine Septimus also going very slowly on the gangplank.
Yep.
Fear's being considerate. He's like holding up the back very patiently and waiting for everybody to, get on the ship.
Excellent. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly not a tiny vessel by any means. There's quite a few sailors running about. It does have 3 masts to it and an upper quarter deck and a forecastle, a main deck, and a lower deck, and a hold. One might say it looks a lot like a lot like this.
Wow.
Wow.
Where'd you
It's
get
so
that?
pretty.
Some guy showed up and just left it at my place.
Sean, you know what we've told you about accepting gifts from strangers.
But it's so nice.
Trash it. Could be bugged.
He did steal my TV. No. But there's plenty of sailors going to and fro. You can hear the cursing. You can certainly smell them. And as you get below deck, it's certainly not nice accommodations. You have just some hanging beds. There is basically they tied off a sheet over the area where your beds are, so that the sailors separates you from the sailors. You're in first class, so to speak, right by the toilets. And yeah, you're free to claim your beds. Imagine Sass is already claimed.
Yeah, I would have. Since it's is it like a very warm morning?
Yes.
All right, I would have left my my overcoat just slung over one of the beds.
Excellent. Great. All right. So you can settle in and you can wait to embark.
Fearn would get last pick, and he would spend most of his days below deck when nobody was, when everybody was up above deck, working. And then nights he would probably just go wander off to the head of the ship and sleep outside.
The bow of the ship.
Yeah.
While we're getting settled, while
the
we're
head
all
works
down
too.
there, Jacques is rummaging around his pack and goes, "Oh, Fearn, by the way, I forgot to give this to you earlier because I didn't quite know what it was, but now that I've got my bearings around myself, here you go," he says as he gives Fearn a wooden mask. Now this mask is kind of...
Is it a pallet? Yeah.
No. This mask has fur around it, and it looks like it would be almost familiar to Fearn in some ways, at least in Jacquette's eyes. It's kind of heart-shaped. It has little spikes on the top, and then a few coming off the side. There's 2 really big, bright painted eyes on it, like orange eyes with little green centers, and it's kind of red around it. It's got this cool aesthetic to it, so red and then purple around it.
Did you get this one from Tattle or Tail?
I knew I couldn't get anything past you, Clash.
Well, this is a very interesting mask here. Is it I kind of like it when my enemies see my face when I kill them.
That's fair.
It's pretty though.
I feel like this could be really useful if you were to put it up to frighten some enemies, it's just got that inherent ability to frighten maybe, and I don't know, whenever you wear it, it might give you advantage on intimidation checks or something like that.
Well, you should have just led with the fact that it had magic. I like magic.
Oh, yes, sorry, it's magical. I picked it up with, those other magic items I acquired, so...
I immediately put it on my face.
Definitely got an interesting past, to be sure.
Is it working?
Oh, I don't know, guys. You tell me, he says, talking to the others. Doesn't Fearn look so much more fearsome and frightening?
I'll come down the stairs at this point and just look in and be like, ah! What the fuck is that?
Is there a masquerade that I don't know about?
Never mind, Bruce.
No, it's a gift.
Oh,
What, you don't like
is it your birthday?
No.
Oh,
You would all hear a growling noise as you would look over and see this wolfhound staring at Fearn, growling, scared and nervous by the mask. Currently, as you get to meet the ship dog.
I lean over to the dog and I'll say, I'll break your legs and eat them for breakfast.
The dog begins to whimper in fear of
That's
Fearn.
not very nice.
I think it's working.
Needs to make a DC whatever wisdom check.
Yeah.
Look, the canines are just,
wait.
There needs to be an alpha. You just got to.
The dog rolled a nat 20, so after it starts to cry, it then goes and licks. It goes and licks the mask.
See, now he knows that I'm the alpha, so he respects me. That's how these things work.
Whatever you say, Fionn.
Septimus, how are you feeling? I know this is very nerve-wracking for you.
Thanks for the gift, by the way.
Septimus is just quiet and just sitting in his cot and just staying below deck as much as he can. And he's just working on Sal just to try to take his mind off it.
Can I bring you anything?
No,
Sure.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Septimus, the ship dog seems to be innately attuned to your anxiety and comes up to you and nuzzles up against you. This might also just be the ship's comfort dog, maybe.
Love it.
I'll give him a screech.
Yeah.
So you give him a scritch. He gives that dog those doggy smiles they make, and you notice on the collar that the dog's name is Bruce.
They just smirk at that. Like, it's a good boy.
And
So play with the dog as much as I'll let him.
Yeah, he's the dog is like down. He's like I'm. You seem like you need help. I'm here for it.
We got sweet Bruce and salty Bruce.
Huh?
That's true.
What are you talking about?
Are you all right, Bruce? Not the pup. I'll scritch that pup too. But no, you all right?
Wait, the pup's name is Bruce too?
Oh, yeah. It says right there on his collar.
Bruce looks at you, Bruce.
Oh no.
It's kind of cute.
I don't know if you're scared of the ocean as Septimus is, but if
I'm a little freaked out because I can kind of see the bottom of the boat, and then
Right.
there's just nothing.
yeah, that's that. I imagine that would be very scary.
Yeah. So it's kind of like floating in an abyss.
Sure.
This isn't my first time though. I took an airship before, but
All right.
it's still kind of freaky.
Is
Yeah.
there anything I can do for you? Get you some
If I
wash
fall
rapids?
overboard, just please.
Oh, I got you.
I don't know how to swim either.
I
so.
got you. I won't let you fall overboard.
I have an idea of how to float.
How about
kinda
this?
floated in
Anytime.
my grandmother's pool,
Ah.
Grammy's pool.
It's just think of it like that. It's a little. It's just a bigger pool. And how about
Yeah.
this? Anytime you're up on deck, and Septimus, I might recommend this for you as well. If you're up on deck, just tie yourself off to something, just in case.
Actually, it's a
don't-
great idea. My
I won't.
Grampy used to make me these like floaties that I put on my arms, Septimus, if that make you feel a little bit more comfortable. They go around your arms, they inflate.
Please stop patronizing me.
I
All right, well, I'm gonna make
he's
myself
just
a
being
pair of
helpful.
them.
Yeah, he knows patronizing. He's just being helpful. But I get it. Fear.
I think
and,
someone's a little defensive.
No, and no. Why don't we just leave him alone? If he needs something, he'll ask. All right, just give him some space.
It's
I'm gonna
as
go find something else to do. Yeah.
as you say that and go to go find something else to do, you immediately turn around and pull the sheet away, and
Yeah.
standing right there, staring right at you, a puff of smoke coming out of his mouth, is the captain, Galdis. This is another sort of like jump scare happens.
Yeah. I take off my hat and just do like a sweeping bow. Good morning, Captain. Hi.
Don't bow to captains.
You're all the ones who are coming with us, then.
Aye. That's us.
Looks across you all. All right.
Can we
Blows
have
another
can we,
blast of smoke in your faces.
Can we be of assistance? At least I offer my capable sailing hands to your crew. I don't know.
If we need anything, we'll ask. I'm here to invite you to dinner tonight. The captain's table.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
fantastic!
As our honored cargo.
We accept. We'll be there.
I heard one of you was from Gwenvalier.
Yes, that would be me, my friend. Jacquet says, coming up, and as he comes up, he's gonna cast Mage Hand. And like Jacquet does it with his fingers, like this, but the Mage Hand mimics. As it comes up and extinguishes the cigarette, and then disappears as Jacquet like waves away the smoke, and then puts out a hand and goes, Jacquet Touchard.
Jacques, don't do that.
He doesn't put his hand out, and he looks you up and down. He goes, Imperial?
Excuse me?
Are you Imperial?
My good man, I am anything but an Imperial.
All right.
A Guildmaster's son.
Okay, all right. Where you
You're
from?
Trading business. Domuzerum? Have you ever done business there?
Yeah. I left through Domazerum when I left Gwenvalier. Passed to the Endurus. And he's just eyeing you now. And Jacquet, given your knowledge of Gwenvalier history, this man probably fought in the war between Northern Quintarchy and the Southern Quintarchy in the Empire. Given his rough demeanor and the question of your allegiance.
Mm-hmm. And Jacquet will say, are you from Gwenvalier as well, my friend?
Yeah. From the Quintarchy. Grew up in Oxland.
Ah. I visited a few times. Caerdolan is quite a magnificent city. Though I don't think it quite compares to Domuzerum myself, but I may be a little biased.
I didn't spend much time in the cities until I became a merchant. Well, I guess it's not so bad to have one Gwenvalier on the ship with me. Well, I see you all at dinner. And he takes out a match and lights his cigarette back up and walks away.
Thank you, Captain.
Yep. You need anything, ask Elmira.
What was his name again?
Captain Galvis.
Ah, Galvis. Thank you.
Galvis or Galbus?
With a D,
Gal-
Galdus.
Oh, that's not what I wrote.
Calvis.
Galvis with a V.
Dalen.
Wow.
His name's Dalen.
His name is Cal.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, I'm gonna go find something else to do because I don't like sitting around on a ship. Anybody want
I'm
to?
gonna go try my bird out upstairs.
Right.
I'll wander the deck. See if the
Sure.
sailors aren't up to anything interesting. See if
Oh.
I can't entertain them a bit, he says, rolling his dice over his fingers.
I'll rest down here. Call me if you need me.
All right. And as those of you who go up to the top deck find, the ship is starting to embark and is leaving. Septimus, you start to feel this as the ship starts to move below deck. You might want to cover up the window as you start to see moving water.
Yes.
And a lot of you are up there. You feel the heave of the ship, and you start to see it pass through the myriad fleet of the governor. As you can see, several of those ships working hard, other ships coming in, docking. As you are off to the sea now and embarking, you'll be out in open waters probably within an hour, and starting your journey across the bay.
Can I go find somewhere like as close to the like somewhere at the bow of the ship, just somewhere really like I'll climb out like on to something if I need to, just to be up and out and over the water. It might. I'm looking at an anatomy of a ship right now. The bowsprit.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. Yes, you can find your way to the bowsprit and attach yourself to it, maybe even leaning over the side of it, looking down at the water. A very dangerous spot, but you've been to sea before.
Yes.
And there's some guardrails or some protection from just slipping
That's
off.
all right. Yeah, I'm not like too concerned with that. I just want to be one with the sea.
Yep, and as the ship begins to pick up pace, you start to see the sun glitter across the waters themselves as there is a sense of peace that comes over you. And with every single league that you're out to sea, you begin to feel more comfortable. The complete and exact opposite of Septimus' experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
As the other two up there, Jacquette, you can start going to and fro to the sailors. When you start to see as things get moving, a lot of them are working, but there's a few lounging around that you can start to talk with and maybe do some tricks with and talk to and ask a little bit about what life's like on the ship and what fun they get into. And you do find out that after hours, there is a little bit of gambling that happens. It's not technically allowed. They say Captain Galdus does not permit gambling on the ship, but they sneak it in because he's a tired old man. And Elmira kind of turns a blind eye to it and occasionally participates.
Oh.
And Bruce, you can let out Lolly Rock. Is it Lolly Rock?
It's Lolly Rock. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. You can let Lolly Rock out and experiment.
I do that. I get to the deck. I go to the bow of the ship and kind of lean it on like the railing and stroke its back, and it'd be like, all right, here we go. And let it unfold, and right as it's it does not sound like a chirp. It's like beeps. It's like
Yeah. Lolly Rock makes.
Really trying.
There's only
Like
two
a
sounds.
cell phone.
Yeah. There's only two noises Lolly Rock really makes. It's this trill beeping noise that's a mimic of a bird chirping, and then just like really rough sounding mechanical parts moving inside, just like a. as it's like hopping around and looks very much like it'll fall apart at any point as its mock wings come out and flap.
Yeah. In which case, like Bruce is like has his arm around it because he like doesn't want it to like fall, and he's seen it fly before, but he's still nervous. And then at some point, Bruce is going to take his goggles off, make a few adjustments, and then put it back on, and then he's going to hit the side of it and to put down one of the lenses, and see if he can see what the bird sees.
That's cool.
Absolutely. As you do that, it's a little janky at first, and it is kind of like glitching out a little bit, like as if it had bad Wi-Fi. As eventually, though, it would kind of come into focus, and you would see through this lens sort of the quick head motions of Lolly Rock looking around.
And at this one moment, Bruce just like is just mouth open, like just the fact that he can see very far away.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to tear up a little bit.
Yeah, it's truthfully, as you're seeing like in pristine definition, beyond 5 inches from your face, and not the different representation that your goggles give you, which is still a vision of its own. This is new, and exhilarating. As you can see what Sass is looking at as well. You can see the glittering light on the waves and crest of the water, and sort of the quick, and even as Lollyrock's head looks, you see like the quick motion of the nearby landscape moving so far away and moving quickly as the ship rocks.
I also will say at some point the Lollyrock will get in the sky, in which case once Bruce tries to like move around, he's gonna fall over immediately because he is looking through the perspective of the bird, but he has no concept of where he is.
Yeah, Bruce, you would immediately fall over and get a little nauseous as Lollyrock just starts to cascade around, flying up and into the sails, and you can see like as you like fall over, maybe with a little bit of a shout. I imagine like Bruce, you go almost on like 1 foot for a second, and then slowly fall backwards as eventually you're laying on your back, and you're looking up, but your perspective is from Lollyrock at the top of the central mast, at the highest point, looking around. And it's almost as if you laying on your back, looking up into the sky, but instead you're looking at the great vista as the ship is reaching a distance now where Lollyrock looks back and you can see the vanishing port of Hyven.
Beautiful.
And
Bruce is gonna lay there.
Yeah, I imagine Bruce just is like, at this point, it's like, it's better to just be laying down for this. And then 2, it's just very breathtaking.
Meanwhile, over by a group of sailors, Jacquette's looking over and goes, "Yeah, I don't know. He's a little weird. Doesn't really travel on ships much, so I think he's just trying to get his sea legs, as you boys say. But, sorry, what time was that, gambling starting?"
You gotta make sure that old Galdus doesn't see us sneak down, but we do it in the lower deck with the cargo after hours when the lights are all off on the ship.
I'll see you there.
We always vote one person out who has to watch at the door and can't partake, and or has to, give time to talk to Elmira about it all. But should be going on tonight. Very excited to have you on board. All right. So your first day at sea begins. Can I get someone to roll me a d20?
Not me. I've been rolling like shit.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
Come on, Septimus.
That is a natural 20.
Hell yeah,
Oh
baby.
man.
Dang, you should be sick more often, Shannon.
That was me.
It's like it's the balance. It's
Yes.
reversed.
So with that natural 20, you have a good day of wind, a good day of weather, and you're
You
staying
could call it that Septimus has been praying, and a little bit of divine intervention kind of guided the ship.
Yes, yes.
Joke.
As you have a very smooth first day of sailing. No clouds in the sky, wind as long as you need it. As you're getting through, cresting over the waves, nothing seems to be dangerous at all looking around. As the first day goes by. And dinner time comes around.
Dinner time.
Dinner time. It's dinner time.
The little bell goes as you hear a booming voice just yell out, "Slop's ready!" As the crew begins to kind of all barrel into the deck where you're all staying, and they seem to be putting away some of their work stuff, and they all seem to be putting on. Each of them seems to put on a hat, and they have various different hats. Like some of them have like very nice, like almost pirate hats, like Sass's, or more like a Commodore's hat, maybe. Some of them look like they're just like stitched together from other things, but it seems to be a tradition on this ship for people to wear the fanciest or goofiest hat they have to dinner. As they all then clamber up to the top deck where there is a table being set up, and you can see the cook is ladling out some slop for everyone. But you were invited to the captain's table. So you see Almira would come and find you all and say, so, Dad wants to eat with you tonight. Come on up. It's in his quarters. Truthfully, he normally eats with the crew, but since we have guests, he wanted to do something special for you. Can't say that we've got a fancy meal for you, but we've got some better food than the slop. Although the slop's good. And she looks to you all, and then looks to like Septimus, who's still probably like pulled up. I know you were a little anxious, but will you be joining us? Won't be on deck. We'll be inside the quarters.
You can wear my hat if that would make you more comfortable.
I'll be there. Be rude of me not to.
I mean, if you're sick, don't force yourself. You know, you could just sit there and not eat.
I'm not sick. I'd rather just not see open water.
All right, do you want to be blindfolded then?
I'll make it.
All right. So, as you head upstairs and head to the captain's quarters, you would find it's a very modest captain's quarters. It's not by any means decorative in extreme ways. There are 2 beds in there. You can see on either side of the room. It seems like Almira probably sleeps here as well. A table is set up in the middle of the room. You can see beyond that, towards the windows in the back, there is the captain's table and with different navigational charts on it and other tools. Very modest. You know, the decorations in here are by no means like gold or anything like that. You see there's a bleached shark jaw hanging up on the wall. You can see there's a sword hung up in a ceremonial style. It's a long sword that you presume might have been his at some point during his service. There is a set of armor in the corner of the room on a rack that is caked in dust right now, but looks nicer though. And there is a little bit of candlelight on the table as there are plates set up for each of you all with a little cloche on top of each one. As he's just sitting there, not dressed any different, still in his very dirty sailor clothes with just sort of like a knit cap on. Again, just with that cigarette hanging out of his lip. And he's got like real white scruff, not a full beard, just enough scruff to cover his chin, and sort of long white hair that hangs out of the knit cap, and just sort of these really tight wrinkled eyes, where it's hard to tell if he's actually looking at you or if he can see you. And he's just always very curled up, as he's just sort of sitting there, and he's just got like a really like boxy head, the really flat jaw that's kind of a little too high up and crunched into his face. Is he just looks like a pickled sailor. As he just kind of looks, you know who he kind of looks like? He kind of has a Filch vibe from Harry Potter.
Oh God.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But that actor in Hot Fuzz, where he's the guy who's indiscernible speak with the geese, or no, with the sea mine. Anyway, but he's just sitting at the table, just sort of smoking the cigarette, looking up, and welcome. Bon appetit.
Thank you very much.
Bon appetit? What language is that?
I used to say it when we were fighting the Gwyn. But anyway, we got some food for you. And Almira's like, be a little more kind. father. Come, sit. And she kind of starts taking out the cloches. Like, she's like, I don't know why we did this. This is stupid. And there is like a very nice like seafood dinner in there. The same cook that makes the slop made some very, very nice food for you. Some roasted fish with some lovely mashed potatoes with some green veggies there. Some green beans. I was trying to think of the French word for that. What is it?
Omelette du fromage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Hors d'oeuvres.
The haricot vert.
That's what it is. That's what I was trying to think.
Or love.
Yes. And it's a nice meal laid out for you all. As he doesn't really seem to eat much. He kind of just sits back and keeps smoking that cigarette and occasionally forks some of the food in his mouth.
Jacquet sits on the opposite end from the captain and goes, merci, Captain. We appreciate the wonderful feast you have laid before us.
And he kind of looks, he like smiles and then like looks over at Elmira. And he's like, you can thank Elmira. This is her planning. I would have been fine with slop.
Oh, I'm sure
Is
you
Elmira
are.
eating?
Elmira is eating, yes.
Okay.
Is her name Elmira or Amira?
Elmira.
So then we have you to thank for this, Elmira, Jacquet says, turning to her. What are you trying to do? Cozy up to Hyven's first official and only adventuring party?
She
or whatever the word is.
she sort of laughs through like biting down on a green bean, slowly like chomping it into her mouth, and then looks up and with somewhat of a full mouth. I did see you at the events we were watching from the vessel. Not our intentions. This is sort of something that I always think is wise to do when you have guests, especially when they're on a payroll from a prestigious organization like the university. Don't know what you're doing. Don't have any questions about it, but happy to have you all here for the extra coin.
Of course.
Yeah,
welcome
that's
for
nice.
comfort.
You want to share some pirate stories or something?
Oh, really? He might not seem like it, but Father was very interested to know that there was a Gwenvaleri. And he's lying. This was his idea, or at least partially. He was interested in hearing some of your stories and maybe even hearing a little bit about Gwenvalir. It's been a long time since he's been home. He's sort of like, don't give up a man's secrets. It's 20 years since I've been back in Gwenvalir. So I was just excited to talk to someone who knows the land. I didn't think it was going to be an Imperial, but you said you're not an Imperial, so that's fine. But yeah, it's been a long time.
Well, what can I tell you, my friends? I've been up and down. I've even been to Elysia once.
Is that right?
Yes, my family is well connected. We do a lot of trade, both in magical goods and your average commodities.
Does half the country still stink of rot?
No, those what do they call them? The berries. Are they called? What do we
The
call them?
netherrock berries?
Oh, netherrock berries. That's right. I was gonna call them. The netherrock berries have done quite a good job with that, and as I hear, that old Elysian that was part of the Wayward Five has made it somewhat of his mission to expunge any and all corruption.
Yeah. Of course, we all heard about Huron.
Ah, yes, that's his name.
Yeah, we were told up and down the whole country about him as we marched to Elysia in the name of Prince Robert.
You weren't fond of Robert?
I'm not fond of fighting other people's wars. Or being
Makes
carted up
sense.
to the north to witness the sky shit out a worm that was going to destroy everything.
I think if you weren't there helping to defend the realm, maybe it would have fallen.
Yeah. Well, hard to get that smell out of your mind.
It's fair. Makes sense why you might leave after that.
Well, what brought you here?
Me?
Sick of the comforts of Domuzerum and the Empire?
Oh, you know, I'm just traveling, seeing the world, trying to decide what it is I want to finally leave my mark with.
He's being modest. He was stranded on an island and was forced to come here.
Well, I was coming here anyways, or at least to Aldhalor.
Yeah, a lot of folks leaving, coming here. More every day. And Almira kind of looks to you, like noticing her curmudgeonly father. Oh, well, that's very exciting. How did you all meet? How did you become Iron and Mana? Is it?
Do we want
That's
to tell
right.
the abridged, clean version or the real exciting one?
Heck, it's short.
Oh, who am I to bereft you of a good tale? Right after Bruce says that, and Jacquet will launch into the story, including basically everything except for any like super illegal, well, not necessarily that, but things that we've kind of talked about keeping on the down low.
Yeah. Almira is eating it all up. Like, she's very excited about all of this. She, any mention of like helping out, the common folk is something that really shines in her eyes. And he, on the other hand, you can tell he is invested in some of it. Like when you're talking about the good things you did for Billowgrass. But generally he seems to have a not negative impression, but a skeptical impression of the term hero. And the role of a adventuring party. You might surmise that he, like other veterans of the wars of Gwenvlir, finds the unwieldy influence of heroes to be maybe not always a great thing. It's all very exciting stuff.
Yes, and then of course the Shadowmancer goes into the air saying, "You're not worth any of my time." And we lashed out at him, all of us. Saskia with her bolts, Fjern swinging his sword, but alas, he got away. Just, in time for us to take him down another day.
And you see Almira she's like, oh, it's quite a riveting tale. You've all been through so much in such a short amount of time of knowing each other.
Feels like a much longer time, doesn't it, my friends?
It's the hardships that you face together that builds a strong relationship. That's why we've been together for so long.
It hasn't been that long.
Like
It's
it
been
or
a little
not,
while.
Bruce, we are a clan
A month.
now.
To Bruce, it's not that long.
There's actually an author that I've read before. He talks about trauma bonding and how it really, unites an adventuring party.
Yeah, I've experienced plenty of that myself.
Of course, similar to a soldier in war, or even a captain and his, crewmates.
Well, I appreciate that. I prefer the sea these days over the soldier's life. Yeah. Only so many weird shit you can see before you gotta find something else. But I appreciate your stories. And I appreciate your help on the ship, as he looks to Sass.
Of course. Happy to
We
help.
value hard work on this ship. But, like I said, or like Almira said, enjoy your time on the Otterly Seaworthy. Happy to oblige.
Hello.
Although he had sort of negative reactions to the mentions of heroism and adventuring, he genuinely seems to have warmed up to it a little bit, at least, like particularly because of the stories you talked about with Billowgrass, and maybe some of the like the fact that you're much more like independently sounded. You're not necessarily talking in a way of like we are the messiahs of this land. We are just here to help people. Is a quick glimpse into sort of a different perspective of the Wayward Five in Gwenvalier. But could someone give me a D10 roll?
Somebody else do it.
You can do it.
Go for it.
Oh no!
It's a 2.
Lucky number 2.
Ship sinks.
Yeah. A dragon turtle pops up and bites a hole in the ship. Roll new characters.
Oh, yes.
You hear a knocking at the door. As the door opens, you hear concerned whispers outside, and then the person comes in, one of the sailors, and says, "Pardon, Captain, sorry to interrupt, but the ship's slowed down. There's some strange material, some seaweed that is blocking up the ship below. You might want to come take a look." And he quickly gets up and rushes out. And Almira just kind of looks to you all like with a smile, like, "We'll take care of this. No, don't worry. You don't have to do anything. You can enjoy your meal."
Do you want some help? I'm actually a pretty good swimmer. I don't mind going and taking a look if it's something.
Yeah, she is.
Thank you, Bruce.
And you
I'm
feel
gonna watch
and
it.
as you do that, you feel the ship like as it like comes to a complete stop.
Jacquet grabs his glass of wine.
So there's just grabs the bottom of his chair.
Bruce just falls over.
Fearon grabs the bottle.
yeah, quickly picks up the bottle as you see it like sliding forward.
Yeah.
And Almira just kind of smiles and says, "You just don't have to do anything. You all are guests. You're not working here."
No, but I want to. I want to be useful.
All right. Well, you can go take a look and see if they need help. And you rush out. It's still, like I said earlier, it's a clear night. Like you can see in the sky the very, very bright moon lighting up the sea. And you can see that sort of like the silhouetted clouds above. And as you step out, though, there is this glittering, glowing green light coming from below on the side of the deck. And as you come out and look on the side, you can look down and see it is just seaweed, but it is all glowing green. And there is an abundance of it. Like you look around and you can't really see the water. It actually just looks like undulating seaweed, almost like it's all one living organism, as it is wrapped completely around the ship almost to the back of it. Almost like you've crash landed on an island, except it's just this floating lock of seaweed. Glowing green.
Weird. Does the light look familiar?
You're not certain. It looks like it could be familiar, but it doesn't have that feeling of familiarity. Like you don't feel a presence in the seaweed.
Okay.
It's also not clawing at you like the other seaweed usually is.
Yeah. That's very strange.
You all can see the light once the doors are fully open and Sass rushes out there. You can see a glowing green light from beyond.
Yeah, I think once, I would try and, remain calm when they, trying to relax me, but once I see a light outside, I would, I actually never let go of the wine bottle. I just stand up and I take it outside with me.
I don't go outside. I stay inside.
What's going on out here?
And you can see some of these sailors are like grabbing big, long poles and going out there and starting to try to dislodge the seaweed. You see some of them are already tying themselves off on ropes to descend and take care of. There's even some of them like standing and being like, should we get a raft out and go down there? Like, the hell is this? The hell is this?
I turn to Elmira. I can go down there if you want and see what it is.
And she's kind of not like panicking, but definitely like in that like I had a night prepared and it's being ruins. I was trying to impress our expensive guests.
Yeah.
And the Galdus starts to bark orders at the different sailors, and they start to do things. You see, he barks at one of them, and they rush up and climb up to the crow's nest to look around, keep an eye out. And Almir's like, I suppose if you can help, you can head down there.
Yeah, of course.
We doing this?
Can you see underwater?
No, but I can maybe do something about that seaweed.
Let me go see what it is first, and I'll pop up and let you know.
All right.
So I will hold this. Sweep my hat off my head and just put it into Feared's chest. Don't lose it.
Yeah.
Take off my boots and get ready to go dive over the side of the ship.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing? I know Septimus is staying in the captain's quarters. I imagine even like I imagine you're even like pressed up against a wall, like where you can't see out the doors.
Fear's leaning over the side, waiting for her call, and he's just he animates he makes his sword appear out of thin air and just is like tapping it on the ground, waiting impatiently.
Okay. Bruce?
Bruce is gonna get off the ground, and looking over at Septimus, be like, "You all right? I'm gonna go check it out, but you want to stay here or?"
I guess he's powering too much yet, but he's just sitting inside. He just doesn't want to be outside if he doesn't need to, especially seeing the vastness of nothing. It's like, I'm all right. Just let me know if you need me or whatever.
All right.
Sorry, point of clarification. Did you bring Sal?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not to the dinner.
Right, but he's on the ship. Okay.
Yes.
Jacquet has wandered out and like Fearin brought his his glass of wine as he like kind of walks up next to Fearin, not like leaning over as much, but just like, what do you see? Is she okay out there? She better get this figured out.
I'm right here. I haven't gone in yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm
I just
fine.
assumed that you had gone over.
No, I'm going right now.
Okay, then I will show up after you go over,
All right.
so I can say the same thing.
I'll say as you're walking out, you like see Sass dive in.
I refill his glass with the
Merci, my
lava.
friend.
Bruce is gonna rub up next to Jacquet. He's like, "Hey, just check this out. I can see through Lollyrock now," and he's just gonna take Lollyrock and just throw it up in the air, and it's gonna unfold and become a bird.
I'd say that's the most impressive thing I've seen you do, but that grenade was a lot more explosive.
Oh, you used that thing?
Oh yeah. Chuck just kind of shuts up a little as he drinks, and he goes, "So yeah, what do you see with a lolly whatever?"
Let's see. I'm gonna watch Saskia get down. I'm gonna grab onto you because I'm gonna lose balance in where I am.
And Doc just gives out a grunt that acknowledges it.
Yeah.
More of like
and Bruce is gonna just keep relaying information. Yep, she's like 3 feet from the water.
Yeah, and Sass,
weird.
Sass, as you're climbing down, like Lollyrock is just sort of like buzzing around your head, flapping. I imagine Lollyrock flaps their wings really fast, like a hummingbird, with occasional trill beeping coming out. As it's floating around
like
you.
an R2D2.
No.
I don't know if you can hear. I don't know if you can hear through this thing, but this is impressive. Maybe have it back up just a little bit. It's in my sight.
I don't know. Can I? I don't know if I can. And I can't hear through it. No, I definitely can't hear through it. I only have its eyes. No.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
As
All right.
Lollyrock looks at you with no discernible way to understand if Bruce can hear you.
I'll just gently, like, just a little bit, friend. And Bruce, I imagine you just see the.
As Lollyrock really quickly moves backwards, like probably way too fast, and Bruce, you feel a little disoriented. As Lollyrock then kind of like notices the seaweed and flies over to that, and just starts looking at that really closely. Bruce, you're just getting this big close up of the seaweed in your face.
Oh God! At this point, Bruce is like, I can't look at this anymore.
When I'm like 2 or 3 feet from the water, I just will let go of the side of the ship and dive into the water and try and find the root of all of this. My instinct is to go down and look towards like the center and see if there's something holding it from the center,
so
kind of just billowing around.
Go ahead and give me a perception check as you release the ship and fall into the inky black darkness of the sea that you can see through because of your double sight.
18, baby.
But Bruce, Lollyrock kind of looks back and like she just disappears into the ocean.
Oh. Can I have Lollyrock just kind of like go towards the seaweed and just kind of like 2 talons, just grab on, just hunk, and then fly back?
Yeah, I'll allow that. It takes a second, and Lollyrock is almost like as they're trying to pull it, like the seaweed is thick and heavy, and it almost like pulls Lollyrock into the water. But it kind of like rips off, and he's able to fly up with a hunk of it.
And then fly back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing some seaweed back. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but yeah.
Okay.
What was your perception roll, Sass?
18.
18. Okay. As soon as you land in the water and look around, you can see there's these eerie pillars of light that come down from the seaweed. They almost look like aurora underneath the water, as it's just sort of this moving with the currents through the light. And I'm sorry, what was the roll again?
18.
18. You're almost distracted by that for a second as you're kind of free floating there. And your cheek starts to hurt a little bit at first. So you can feel some wriggling in there.
Are you doing this?
And then as you say that to yourself, you look up and you notice out of the corner of your eye movement underneath the seaweed. It almost looks like a silhouette swam across underneath it.
Is that you? You know, you didn't have to stop the ship. You could have just said something. I would have come in the water. I'll swim towards it. You start to swim towards it, and it very rapidly, whatever it was, you can see it now. Not see it clearly, but you can see the silhouette of it as it almost like freezes in place, and it's holding on. You see humanoid hands or humanoid-like hands holding on to the seaweed, and then suddenly you see it crawl away from you as if like it's crawling along the seaweed as if it were a wall of vines. Where are you going? Wait. Where are you going? Do you need help?
And it seems to almost like crawl into of a cluster of this seaweed that's about 30 feet from you. It's almost like a pillar of it coming down.
Can I swim closer?
You can.
Cautiously?
While you're doing that, what is everyone doing up on deck as you're kind of staring off the side and just sort of seeing the nothingness and Sass having disappeared in there?
Bruce is gonna just get the seaweed and with Jacquet just be like, look, it's is it glowing, or is it the water that was glowing?
It is glowing.
Oh, okay, it's kind of funky. What does it feel like?
It's real gross. It's real slimy, and it's got some. It's got like some. So it's like that sort of like flat pasta like seaweed, but then it also has like these polyps that have some air in them that you can see kind of like in these clusters that were helping it float.
Yeah, don't touch that. That's gross.
I wasn't planning on it. Jacquet says as he's like very much like cross-armed holding his wine, like not taking a step away from Bruce, but like keeping his distance from this.
Yeah. And Bruce, like as soon as you like start touching it, like the slime is just like on your hands. Like it is real hard to get off. It's coated your hand entirely. It makes it hard to hold on to anything. You know, almost as if you got it on your hands, you'd have like a risk of dropping your weapon. And you know, Fear, and you're watching the edge, so you would have like seen like a bit of an undulation at the top of the seaweed when that thing moved across. But you also could surmise that to just be Sass moving underneath it. Is the only thing you know for sure is in the water right now.
Yeah, Fearn would grab, like, not tie it around him or anything, but like grab a rope and then just kind of just like lean off the side of the ship and say, I thought I saw something moving down there. We might not be alone. And I grab my sword with the other hand.
Isn't that just Saskia?
I'm not sure.
All right. I'll like Rock, go back down there. Just keep flying around over there.
At this, Jacquet is still holding the wine, looks over and is gonna, try to perceive anything.
At the seaweed?
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
How tall is the ship from the water? Like, what's the distance between ship and...
That's a good question on how how tall a merchant vessel would be from the water.
I would guess like 10 feet, maybe.
No, it's more than that. It's more than that,
More than
probably.
that?
It's probably more like 20 feet, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 15 to 25.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. From the main deck. What was your perception check?
24.
Okay, so I'd say you can kind of see the like reverberations of that initial movement, and you can see something is definitely like. I'd say you actually with that high of a score, you can spot the movements that are likely Sass as she's swimming closer to this pillar I mentioned. And the way it's cautiously moving, I think it's fairly safe. Like it's controlled and cautious. It's not fast paced. You can presume that you have eyes on Sass there.
Okay. So Jacquet will kind of gesture out with the wine cup. He goes, oh, look, Saskia, she's right out there. Don't you see? She's moving towards that, the light.
Yeah, and she seems to be moving towards where there's a particular knotted cluster of this seaweed.
Fionn's just keeping eyes on it. He's still suspicious.
Okay. Sass, you begin to move closer to this space. And it's almost like it's a curtain of seaweed that almost is surrounding a completely darkened space inside, which you can see into, of course, with your devil sight. As you're getting closer, you can start to see that silhouette of that creature. It is sort of like arms stretched, holding on to the seaweed, kind of hanging there in this position with its arms on almost a Y, as it is staring at you. As you get closer and closer, you just start to see the features. It's not the likeness of your patron. You start to see slick fish-like scales almost. Some webbed appendages coming off. Some sort of shell-like shoulder plate pauldron. Just simple, like almost like scaled skirt. Like the only armor. They do have a tail, but they also have legs, 2 long legs, webbed feet, webbed fingers. You can see its hands up, holding onto this. You can see it staring back at you now, directly at you with these large, dark eyes, where you can just sort of see just the faintest little green light where the pupil would be. mouth full of razor sharp teeth, as it is just sort of staring back at you, mouth open, like you would almost imagine a low growling hiss, but you can't hear it through the water, as it is staring back at you at that moment.
I won't go any closer once I can discern, and just say, can you understand me?
The creature is... So, first of all, Sassa, we'll say, you can just make it understand you with your abilities. Because you can make anything underwater, like any other humanoid underwater, understand you.
Okay.
Or creature.
I'll still ask
who
the
can speak a
question.
language.
Got it.
Creature does not respond.
Okay.
Are you getting closer?
When it doesn't respond, like, I'll go like 2 inches closer. Do you need help? We don't mean any harm. We're just trying to pass. We got stuck. Is this yours? It's rather beautiful.
Sass, what's your passive perception?
14.
You sense in the water another one move quickly to your right and disappear. You look and turn, you can see just the last movements of another silhouette swim over to another pillar of seaweed and hide in it.
There's more of you. All right. Did we upset you in some way?
It does not respond to anything you say.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go let my friends above know that you're here, and just so we're good. Don't move. And I start to ascend.
Says, as you look at it and say this and start to ascend, so you are under the seaweed right now. Are you going right up to the seaweed or returning to where there's not seaweed?
Does the seaweed look like it's like passable?
It is. Like you could pass it. It just might be a little slimy.
Is it quicker? Is it like
it's quicker. It's definitely quicker
way?
to go directly up.
All right. So I'll just be like,
okay,
going up. I'll be right. I'll be back.
You keep your eyes on it as you're going up, and it doesn't move. It stays there. It does not stop looking at you as you go up. You get to where the seaweed is, and as you kind of push yourself through it, you just start getting coated in this slime. And when you come up above the water, it like mats your hair down and sticks to your face. You actually have to wipe it off, but you can't wipe it off because your hands are covered in it. And you come up, and you all watching the water would see Sass come up.
What's going on down there?
So there's some kind of creature down below.
Sass,
God.
before you finish that sentence, give me an athletics or a acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. 11.
11. Okay. Something grabs you. And you feel sharp claws, scaly skin, webbed hands grab onto your legs and dig in and try to pull you under the water. But you're able to just barely break free as you feel the claws scratch at your legs and cut through as you feel like just like a little bit of your blood goes into the water.
Oh, God. Ow. Fuck. There's creatures under here.
And as that happens, you all would see the seaweed undulate as several things all at once start to swim towards Sass. And at the same time, you hear a bell ring up in the crow's nest as the sailor who went up there shouts, "Ship on the horizon! Ship on the horizon!" And those on deck would look over towards where the moon is lighting the horizon and see a tall ship and hear on the wind chimes, bone chimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's where we're going to end tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So That's our show for tonight, folks. Thanks for joining us for the festivities and then the first day of sea travel with the little mysterious gooey seaweed halting our ship's passage. We'll start there next session to see the party get out of this situation and away from the presumed bone rattler on the horizon. And yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us. We will certainly send our raid on over to someone else in the community, and see you all next week. Thanks for joining us. Have a lovely evening. We're gonna raid Queen's Court Games once I get this all figured out. And